I'm Jennifer Whitmore. I'm the Social Democrats TD for Wicklow, and I'm also the spokesperson for climate and biodiversity and the spokesperson for children.
I'm Holly Cairns, TD for Cork South West, spokesperson for agriculture, disability and social justice. I'm probably the newest member of the Social Democrats in terms of our TDs. I joined very soon after the referendum to repeal the Eighth. I had been, the only other time I was engaged in politics before that was probably during the marriage equality referendum. And I just kind of had that realisation during the repeal referendum that the best way to affect change is to knock on doors and ask for votes. It was kind of a light bulb moment, and I think, you know, one of the biggest problems obviously in Irish politics has been, you know, the poor representation, lack of female representation, and the Social Democrats obviously stood out to me in that regard. I never felt like a token female in the Social Democrats, and ultimately I suppose I don't think you can govern a society that promotes equality if that doesn't exist within your own party. And, you know, co-led by two women, you know, 2/3 of our parliamentary party now are women, and the majority of our councillors. It was the obvious choice, and I think Ireland's ready for that more progressive style of politics finally.
I sort of fell into it. I fell right into politics. I had been living in Australia for 10 years, and when we moved back home, we moved to Wicklow, and I just looked around and just saw lots of things around the town that I thought needed changing. And then I looked at, you know, the politicians that were there and thought, well, they don't reflect me or my values or what I want to see, and so I got involved. So I went from being an independent councillor to actually starting up the party with Roisin and Catherine, and it's a really inclusive party, lots of women. In fact, my daughter was born 2 or 3 weeks before we launched the party, so she was the youngest member of the national executive team. Yeah.
I think sometimes we hear about, like, oh, we need more women in politics because of, you know, specific issues, which is true. Things like reproductive rights, the ongoing restrictions in maternity hospitals, absolutely. But women's participation in every department, be it foreign affairs, you know, climate. And I remember when I was deciding to join a political party and going through the different parties and looking at the policies, one of the main draws for me was your policy on biodiversity for the Social Democrats. So there's this kind of, sometimes you hear, you know, oh, we need women in that particular pigeonhole, but like across every department we need more women. I remember seeing research from, I think it's Leeds University, and it's talking about having female members on boards, and having one female member made boards of, you know, financial institutions significantly less likely to go bankrupt. Like, do we not want that for our government?
Yeah, absolutely.
The ambition now is to try and make significant inroads into the key issues of housing, of health, of climate, of childcare, and there's so many other areas. And I think that that can only be done if we have really good governance, something that I'm really passionate about. Over my career, I have worked with my community in bringing about change in some of these areas. As a relatively new party, we're a party of the future. Our aim is to build better quality public services and a better way of life. That's part of the reason why women should get involved, join that team and help us to build it.